Good morning and welcome to day number 55 with a story called The Spies. And my name is Mary. The Israelites stayed in their camp by Mount Sinai for almost a year while they built the tabernacle and learned God's laws from Moses. At last, the cloud over the tabernacle rose up, and the people knew this was the sign for them to move. They looked down the tabernacle and their own tents and journeyed northward toward the land of Canaan for many days, led by the pillar of cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night. At last, they came to a place just on the border between the desert and Canaan, called Kadesh. Here they stopped to rest, for there were many springs of water and some grass for their cattle. While they were waiting at Kadesh, expecting to soon march into the land that was to be their home, God told Moses to send out some men to walk through the land, look at it, and then come back and tell what they found, what kind of land it was, what fruits and crops grew in it, and what people were living in it. They needed wise, bold men for this, but for it was dangerous work. So Moses chose some men of high rank, one ruler from each tribe, 12 men in all. One of these was Joshua, Moses' helper, and another was Caleb, who belonged to the tribe of Judah. These 12 men went out and walked over the mountains of Canaan, looking at the cities and fields just before they came back to the camp. They cut down a cluster of ripe grapes that was no large. 2 men had to carry it between them, hanging from a stick. These 12 men were called spies because they went to spy out the land. After 40 days, they came back to the camp, and this is what they said. We walked all over the land and found it a rich land. There is grass for all our flocks, and fields where we can raise grain, and trees bearing fruits, and streams running down the sides of the hills. But we found that the people who live there are very strong men of war. They have cities with walls that reach almost up to the sky. Some of the men are giants, so tall we felt like grasshoppers beside them. Caleb said, "All this is true, yet we need not be afraid to go up and take the land. It is a good land, well worth fighting for. God is on our side, and He will help us overcome these people." But all the other spies except Joshua said, "No, there is no use in trying to make war on such strong people. We can never take those walled cities, and we dare not fight those tall giants. The people who had journeyed all the way through the wilderness to find this land were so frightened by the words of the 10 spies that now, on the very border of Canaan, they dared not enter it. They forgot that God had led them out of Egypt, that He had helped them in the desert, that He had given them water out of the rock and bread from the sky, and His law from the mountains. And that was the word of the Lord. Now we come to our discussion questions. And the first says, how did the people know to move? Number 2, where did they go? Number 3, when Moses sent men into Canaan, what did they do? Number 4, when they came back, what did most of them say? Number 5, what did Joshua and Caleb say? Thank you for joining me, and we'll get together soon in another story. God bless you all.